The premise I'm going to present to you is often known as like the 33-33-33 rule, but to be a bit more accurate, I'm going to go with 30-30-40 and how it pertains to League of Legends and being able to play solo queue, climb, and ranked, and then you may be able to utilize its original basis in your own personal life. So, what does the 30-30-40 stand for? It breaks down to the games that you're destined to win, destined to lose, and the ones that you actually have full impact and full effect on. So initially, the way it works is like 33% of people are going to like you, 33% of people are going to hate you, and 33% of people, and it's always like 33.3333333333, carry on the remainder. But and the idea is that last chunk is the chunk that you actively have control over. Now, bringing that over to League of Legends, or any ranked MMR ELO game, there are 30% of games where you have a hard, definite chance of winning. These are the games where the Smurf is on your team. These are the games where the enemy team has that troll or the AFK, but they don't get the remake. These are the games where the enemy team has someone disconnect. All things that happen where you would have to work really, 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 really hard to lose. In those games, those are the ones that almost feel like you did nothing, or the games where it was a matchup for you where you ended up getting 15 kills to start the game off and closing out the game, and they forfeit at 15 minutes or they forfeit at 20 minutes. There's not a lot of pushback. Your team is all running on the same. Your team is all running on the same page. So you guys might take down objective after objective after objective, and not have to worry or think about what's going on as far as trying to critically outthink the other team or have to make the right play at the right time. Things are just clicking, and you automatically win those games. So that's that 30%, that 30 chunk. Then you have your 30, which are your guaranteed losses. These are where you're on that enemy team. You're the one with the AFK. You're the one with the feeder. You're having the bad matchup, and you just can't stop yourself from going 0-15 to the to the Tryndamere or the Akali or whoever, right? These are the 30. This 30%, you are actually locked into losing. Like there's no way. Like maybe you get one AFK, maybe you get two AFKs. You are locked into losing. There's no feasible way for you to win these 30% of games. It's those are the ones that suck. Like you feel like you're wasting your time. You feel like, why did I queue up? I was like, my bot lane went 0-15 and then decided to leave the game, or my mid laner never connected and my jungler didn't want to go mid or top so at least we had people in lanes, and their Veigar or their Nasus got to stack infinitely in a lane with no opponent. There are games like that where they kind of just feel hopeless and there was no chance or no way for you to win. And then thirdly are the 40% block, right? And in that 40% block, those are the games where you and your gameplay, your game knowledge, your decision making dictates how to the best of your ability to try to curtail the win rate, your team's winning, right? This is the game where it's a long game. It's 62 to 60 to 62 to 60. As far as the score line, the deaths and the kills are spread across the map. Each team has taken down a bunch of towers, and they're both sitting on Dragon Point. And maybe one team has gotten Baron, the other team is pressuring for the current Baron. These are the games where it's like, if you decide to face check a bush, and there's 3 people sitting in it, you lose the game. But if your teammate face checks the bush, dies, while you're split pushing though, and you take down the inhibitor and are able to take down the nexus or take down the towers while your team holds under their tower and base, you come out looking and feeling really, really great. because you're able to see, okay, one player went down, but my team still has defenses, and I can still push this, and I see 4 people on the map. And these are the games that you heavily influence, right? Sometimes it's really the idea of being the carry and also being carryable. In the last video, we talked about people for not knowing how to transition and change roles. When sorry, my cat just decided to bump me. Not knowing how to change roles during certain aspects and during portions of the game. But at this junction, we're talking about making the call or understanding the call of, okay, I am really far ahead. Am I better off going away from my team and trying to split push, trying to get a solo kill, trying to make a pick? Or I'm really far ahead. Am I better off staying with my team, helping my team defend, hopefully utilizing my team as we one of the taught linguistics, or one of the lingo that we taught while I'm streaming is using them as body bags, as meat shields. So if you're on a Fed 80 carry and the rest of your team is doing terribly, then maybe it's up to you to utilize them to absorb spells, to absorb damage, to take CC. It's sometimes to utilize whatever abilities they have, their spells, their CC, to be able to take advantage of situations, so that way you're able to, be with your team and still win the game through that decision making. Likewise, on the flip side of that coin, are you really, really, really far behind? And is it smarter for you to, since you're far behind, you're not worth a lot of gold. If you're super far behind, your death timers are generally lower than the rest of the map. Should you go split push? Should you put yourself out there? Because if you die, you're of lesser value. You're effectively a warm body on the field. You may pull some people towards you. May alleviate pressure for your team that's defending. Is that the right mentality? Is that the right goal to have when it comes to playing from behind? Likewise, if you're really, really far behind, are you one of those people that needs to be the meat shield, that needs to be the body bag for one of your fed teammates? Do you have utility in your kit that'll allow somebody else to do something? Are you like on Ashe or on Malphite, or someone who has a knockup for like a Yasuo, or someone who, Nautilus, who provides a lot of CC, or even Fiora, who people don't think of as a utility player, but someone who, if Fiora ults the enemy AD carry, they're going to go running, and the support or whoever is going to try to peel for them. That creates space and distance for hopefully whoever is fed on your team to be able to get through the front line, or to follow up with you to be able to get that kill. That 40% is always like the hardest 40% too, because these are the games, in my experience, that, and we've all been here. I know each and every single one of you that's played League of Legends. I know you've been here, where it's 12 minutes into the game, 14 minutes into the game, it's 10-3. Your lanes are losing, mid lane's losing, jungle's losing, bot lane's feeding. You're not doing it too hot either. Maybe you're behind in CS, or maybe you're also just losing lane. They throw up the surrender vote at 15. One person says no. 2 people say yes. 2 people are waiting to see what the other person says. And it's these games that you vote no, and then you're still losing at 20 minutes. Somebody else throws up the surrender vote, but now 2 other people say no to it. And you're saying, oh my goodness, why are we still in this game? But then like 5 more minutes goes by, and you're beginning to see, okay, my mid laner was able to get like 2 kills. All right, I was able to get 2 towers. We're back. We got a dragon. The jungler stole dragon. Okay, this is getting better. We're rotating a little better. We're moving as a team. And the difficult part about this 40% is when you win it, it feels so good, because this is a game that you were supposed to lose. This is the game that you should have been out of at 15 minutes, and now it's 39 minutes into a game. You could have played a whole nother game at this point, but you stuck it out, and you're utilizing your good decision making, you're utilizing your game knowledge, and you're fighting that tooth and nail to try and get that win. And when it works, it feels fantastic. It feels amazing. You go yes, because those are the ones that you're like yes, yes. You're amped. You're just pumped. You're really about it. They're also the ones that like suck the most to lose. Like straight up, we all have been there too. Where it's like, why didn't we just forfeit at 15 minutes? Because it's almost like it's like a build up, it's a build up, it's a build up, it's a build up, it's a build up, and then your team gets ace and they run it down. They grab Baron or whatever, they ace you right in front of your base with like 2 minion waves, and you're just like, okay, I guess we just lose the game now. After 20 minutes of battling back, one mistake cost it. But that's why that 40% is so hard. That's why that 40% is a battle, because it is ultimately up to you. And the real struggle of League is it's up to you, and it's up to you to also convey it to your teammates. That's probably the most difficult part about winning games in League of Legends. Not that every game is winnable. It's not that every game is some power of friendship movement. It's really that you almost have to be a therapist for your team, because you may be having a great, maybe not a great game, you may not be doing well, but mentally you're not checked out, you're not on tilt, you're just like, okay, I just need to get back into I just need to farm. But your support and your mid lane are japping back at each other. Well, you're 0-4. You don't even have 20 CS at 20 minutes. Now, if somebody didn't have 20 CS at 20 minutes, I might look at them sideways. But that's besides the point. But they're going back and forth, and now it's time for you to play League of Legends therapist, where you have to, don the glasses, you have to pull out the notepad and say, okay, so looks like you're having some issues, but understand that we are all in this game. We all hit the Q button to try to win. Nobody here, unless they're on some Super L9 stuff, is trying to lose. So please stick together mentally at least. And I think chat has its benefits occasionally. I normally tell my friends to turn off their chats or to minimize chat or not pay attention to the chat, because a lot of time it is a lot of flaming and back and forth and stuff that will get in your head and tilt you and antagonize you. But there are times where you can use chat call. A lot of people say you should be able to do everything through pings. Yes, you should. But there are some things that don't get conveyed through pings. And when we're talking about that 40%, when we're talking about the 40% that you have control over, sometimes you have to say, hey, Mundo, you should sell your Spirit Visage because they're all AD. I understand it helps with your ultimate, but you maybe Spirit Visage was a bad idea or a bad example, because Spirit Visage is really good for his ult. But you know what I mean. Maybe hey, great job completing the Spirit Visage. Build a Randuin's because there's a Yasuo, a Caitlyn, and a Yone, and a Tryndamere on the enemy team. And they all have crit. Also support build a Randuin's. We're going to need to have you guys stay alive for as long as possible and minimize their crit damage. Likewise, either you're playing against Teemo or Singe or Cassiopeia. Guys, I think our front line needs to build Adaptive Helm. You can tell people these things, because going into the game thinking that everybody A thinks how you think and B knows what you know is ultimately what's going to lose you games. But it's also about how you convey telling them that information. Because you can tell people all the right and correct information in the world, but if you tell it to them, if you spam ping people, if you've already gotten into this back and forth with them, keyboard warrior style, and now you're like, hey man, hey, you want to help the team out and build a Randuin's? They're probably gonna they probably have either muted you, they're gonna cuss you out, or they're gonna like flame you and be like, what do you know, and go and begin to assert whatever is going on when it comes to your level or your gold or your KDA. Realistically, in conclusion, the reason why I wanted to discuss this was just to like give another viewer opinion that, one, it's really really nice. So I guess I shouldn't conclude just yet, but you should try to figure out which games fall into which category. So there are times where you're in a game that feels like a 40 game because it was like difficult, but when you take a step back and think about it, it was probably one of your 30% games for 30% wins or whatever. And there are games that, vice versa, where it's like, man, we shouldn't have lost this. Did I just lose one of my 40%? And it's like, not really. This is probably a guaranteed loss. It's just really hard to tell sometimes. Like the ones that are obvious are obvious. You're gonna be like, wow, I basically did nothing. My mid laner got super fed, or my 80 carry and bot lane had their inhibitor down at 12 minutes. It's stuff like that. It's gonna be really really easy to pick up, but understanding which are which, because I feel like when you start to understand, especially on the loss sides, the ones that are almost like I hate to say unwinnable, but the ones where it's like clearly you have the AFK, you have the person who's intentionally feeding the enemy team kills. I was just in a game like that recently. We had a Yuumi go 0-30. Yes, after a while they're no longer worth any gold, but the first handful of kills over and over to a certain lane will allow that lane to come back with a full item and effectively make the game far more difficult to win, especially when you're playing a 4v5, effectively a 6v4. In those games, you just gotta understand that, yes, it sucks that you're gonna lose LP. Yes, it sucks that you're gonna be wasting at least 15 minutes or sometimes longer. But at the end of the day, you report that person, you move on, and you just go, okay, that one I didn't have a chance of winning. Maybe this next one I do. Maybe this next one's going to be the free one. Or maybe this next one is going to be the one where I carry because of my decision making, because of my game knowledge, because I know where to rotate to, how to position. I understand the matchup. Oh, I know that champion can only kill me at this point, so as long as I'm positioned here and I have this much HP, I can bait them into trying to kill me and be able to outplay them and gain advantages for your team. With that being said, thanks again for stopping in. Hopefully you're able to take a little bit of this and understanding that you do have control over the majority of your games. I guess that's the other thing. Because you have control over the 40%, so you have control over the majority of your wins, I guess, because you're going to get free wins, and then you're going to have to work for your other wins. So you can always try your best to have a positive win rate, or at least have a positive mentality going in and out of games. Because it's really easy to go into a game being like, yeah, I'm ready to go, I'm going to win, I'm going to play, I'm going to do this and that. It's really hard to be like, okay, I understand where we lost and what I could have done differently, and what I can take from this game that I just lost and try to bring it into this game and try to do better. So, thanks again. It's your boy King. Make sure you hit subscribe, the bell icon. You please drop a comment, so that way I can know and do better at this. I got some comments on Reddit about effectively this being similar to Thorin. Big fan of Thorin, so there's no surprise. He has a very clean, a very effective style, and I feel like this isn't terrible. And I don't have a graphic designer. I just put it together myself, so it's very blockish. Some of it's not even. But I will try to continue to do better, and I hope that you guys enjoy this content that I'm trying to put out on a more regular basis, because I need to. And if it helps one person do better, if it helps one person not tilt, or if you take this and you take it into your personal life, right? You go to a new job, or you're going to a new school, or you're going wherever. You got to realize that, yeah, 30% of the people are going to love you, regardless of who you are, what you do. And 30% of them are going to hate you. But it's the percentage that you can choose to try to befriend, and even in some cases, like make enemies, you know, like be like I don't like that person either, so I'm just going to remove myself from that situation. But yeah. Hopefully this has been mildly helpful between League of Legends life and everything in between. And I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out with me. This is, like I said, your boy X King Prime, Ion Esports. Make sure to tune in to the Ion Esports podcast, Outside the Lanes, with myself and Race Crown. Likewise, that'll be posted on the on my Twitch schedule, and then we have a new show coming up that we're working on. That one's still in the works, but it should be pretty cool. And hopefully, we'll see you guys later. Take care. Peace.